Yes, sir. We're ready to go live.
Ready?
Yes, Jim, thank you so much for having us tuned in today to Recovery Live. This is Stages of Recovery is brought to you Recovery Live on 580 AM every Friday at noon. We have a very special show today with Driftwood Recovery out here in Austin, Texas. They are an inpatient residential treatment. They do so many things for their local community in the state of Texas in general, and we have a very special guest by the name of
Dr. James Flowers.
Dr. James Flowers with us today with Driftwood Recovery. We're going to learn about what Dr. Flowers has been doing in his own personal life, and as well as what he does here at Driftwood, and why it is so important to get this message out to the public about what Driftwood is doing down here in Austin, Texas. Why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners and tell us what you do at Driftwood?
You bet. So James Flowers is my name, and I'm the co-founder of Driftwood, and for the last 25 years of my life, I did my fellowship training in pain management on the psychological side of pain, and I've worked with people who have opiate addiction and chronic pain. There's 325 million people in this country, and about 150 million people suffer from pain.
Correct. And so when you say pain management, can you explain to listeners what that is exactly in a clinical term? Like what is the definition of pain management?
Sure. So I really think there's two terms. One is pain management and one would be pain recovery. And pain management is someone who continues to see a physician and manages their pain through medication. Our program is really more about, and if I said pain management, I meant pain recovery. Our program is really about recovering from chronic pain and thriving in life, even though you have pain, not using any type of opiate or benzodiazepam to manage your life or your chronic pain.
So we did a show a few weeks ago, and the listeners might remember this. It was strictly over the opioid crisis that is occurring in this country. I think that our Congress has finally been able to actually look at this situation for what it really is instead of brushing it under the rug. They now know that this is a crisis that is happening to our youth, to our brothers and to our sisters and to our loved ones across this country. And so can you walk me through the process of somebody that has experienced pain, a injury at work, or some type of situation that has occurred where they're experiencing pain? What does that person typically do starting out before they end up at a facility like yours? Because clearly there's an issue surrounding once the pain occurs, they're seeking a solution from that pain, right? And so would you say it's safe to say that they experience the pain and they end up getting addicted to the drugs that they were prescribed? Is that
Sure. So
how does someone end up in that situation?
You bet. And I have treated literally thousands and thousands of patients over the last 25 years, and 85% of the patients would tell you exactly the same thing. Whether it's a work-related injury, whether it's a weekend injury, stepping off of a ladder at home and twisting their back, or moving a ladder, going to the grocery store and lifting a heavy bag, or even having a migraine headache. The typical cycle is someone will feel what we call acute pain. They'll go to their family practice doctor and complain of pain. Family practice doctors have less than 2 hours of medical training on pain in medical school.
Wow.
Yep. And so
less than 2 hours, guys. Less than 2 hours of pain training
in their entire medical school history. And so what they do is they typically say, let me do an x-ray. 80% of all x-rays done in the United States are negative and show no signs of organic injury.
Okay.
So they'll say, let me write you a prescription, typically for hydrocodone, and you go home, do some exercises for a month. Let's see how you feel in about a month and come follow up. The average family practice doctor sees about 30 to 40 people a day. So when they have that kind of that lack of time, it's a very quick in and out. Not a lot of physical, not a lot of time to talk to the patient. Quickest way to get them out is to write a prescription and they're gone.
Right.
And so the patient goes home, typically takes that medication, runs out sometimes early, sometimes not, but they come back in a month. 80% of the time, again, they feel the same amount or increased pain. So the doctor says, let me send you to physical therapy and I'm going to refill your hydrocodone.
Okay.
Patients will go to physical therapy, and if they're in pain, the goal of a physical therapist is to rehabilitate someone as quickly as possible and come back to living and functioning.
Right.
But so many people drop out of physical therapy because of the pain that they feel, so they don't complete the program. They go back to the doctor. At this point, it's been 90 days, or the end of 60 days. They
So
refill.
we're about 2 to 3 months into the situation once the injury has occurred.
That's right.
Okay.
So the doctor says, let me do an MRI, and they send the patient for an MRI to an imaging center, often that he owns a piece of.
Okay.
And they'll do the image. 70% of the time, all MRIs done in the United States looking for back pain alone are negative. They show no organic sign of injury, and the patient continues to suffer. So the doctor says, let me send you to my buddy who's an orthopedist. I can't do anything else. And the cycle starts all over. They go to an orthopedist, and the doctor says, let me do an x-ray, an MRI. I'm going to fill this prescription for you. I don't like what he put you on. I'm going to change it. At this time, the patient's feeling anxious, so he adds either Xanax or something to help sleep on top of the pain medication. And they go through that same 60 to 90 day cycle. And now we're at 120 days, and the orthopedist says, you know, John, I've tried everything that I can under the sun. You've gone to physical therapy, you didn't complete it, it hurt, there must be something I'm not catching. Let me send you to my friend Sally, because she's the best pain doctor in the country. I'm going to send you right over to her, make an appointment with the pain doctor, and they go through that cycle again. And it just continues to spiral out of control.
So that is extremely unfortunate for those that are suffering from pain, because once again, that's a 3 to a 6 to a 9 month long period where they're still suffering. Nothing's been done. They've been given a temporary solution, which is the medication that they're on, which is just a temporary solution. But if you prolong the use of that medication, is it safe to say that your body, even your mind, can become dependent on that medication?
Absolutely. You become physically addicted. When you take a narcotic or an opiate or even a benzo for 90 days, your body can't help but be. It's natural. You become physically addicted, and you become psychologically addicted.
So let's map this out. Just so that the listeners get a very good picture of what's happening. You experience some pain, you are given some medication, you attempt many different solutions, none of it's working. So now, not only are you still in pain, but now you also possibly have an addiction to the medication that was given to you in the first place. So a solution has not been found, and other problems have now occurred.
That's right.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's
So
just
I
building
gotta-
on the problems.
So obviously why I'm here today, while I came all the way to Driftwood, is to find a solution to the problems that people are having. Can you speak on how Driftwood intercepts that person, pulls them out of that situation, and gets them healthy again? What does Driftwood do?
Sure. So one of the things that we do is we do something called prevention, and that's educating. I do a lot of speaking around the country to physician offices, physician practices, and at conferences, educating physicians on screening for addiction. How do I screen a patient and find out if this patient has the potential for addiction, or even has a history of addiction in their family, so that I can be careful? What tools do I use? So we educate physicians on the front end. But unfortunately, there, with 150 million people in this country that have chronic pain, 90% of all opiates in the world are prescribed right here in the United States. So there's
Directly
a lot
from the
of
doctors
people.
that they trust, yeah.
That's right. So what we do is we educate the community, we educate the physician community, the nursing community. We talk to them about what a pain recovery program is that's abstinence-based. My philosophy and my belief is that if a narcotic or a benzo has not worked in 90 days, it's not going to work in 120 days, 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years. So what we want to do is take those patients and we detox them immediately off of their opiate and narcotic. And
Real quick for the listeners, what does that mean? What does detox mean,
Yeah.
and how long does that? Can you speak on that a
Sure,
bit?
absolutely. So let's just say someone's been taking OxyContin, 180 milligrams of OxyContin for a period of time, we'll say 2 years. They may have been taking a benzo, 2 to 5 milligrams of benzos for a couple of years, and that detox may be about a 7 to 10 day detox.
Okay.
So that first phase is really cleansing the body, cleansing the system, allowing that medication to get out of their brain, allowing it to not take hold of them. Because once a patient has taken an opiate for more than 90 days, the brain experiences something called hyperalgesia. Hyperalgesia is a natural medical phenomena that is an increased sensation that causes an increased sensation in pain. So if your pain level would normally be around a 5, if you've been taking opiates actually to control your pain, after 90 days, it does the opposite. It makes you more sensitive to pain, and it increases the level of pain that you're feeling. So we often see during that 5 to 7 day period, patients will report about a 10 to 20% reduction in their pain level just from detoxing.
just because the actual medication that was causing that phenomenon to occur has been removed.
That's right.
So you would say that they're actually back to the normal amount of, well, not normal, but the level of pain that they were originally at.
That's right. We would call it a baseline pain. So detoxing a patient will actually give us a new level or a new baseline of pain. And that's where we really know what is their physical capabilities. What we do here at Driftwood, when they come in, we do a full medical evaluation, we do a full psychological evaluation, we do a full physical therapy and physical evaluation, and find out what are the capabilities of this person. What's their history? What's their family history? What's their psychosocial history? My other philosophy that now we're seeing published in journals all across even medicine is that about 70% of a person's reported pain level on that silly 0 to 10 scale.
Right, with the smiley faces, right? You got the smiley with the sad faces.
About 70% of that pain is an emotional response to physical pain. So when I mean that, what I mean from that is anxiety causes more pain. Our bodies and our brains react to our nervous system.
Yes.
The brain is the only way we perceive pain. So when we're anxious, we're not sleeping, we're not eating right, we're depressed, we're arguing, we're not having intimate relationships with our partner. Mm-hmm. What that does is it causes more anxiety, more fear, more avoidance, and it increases our pain.
Right.
So what we want to do is learn how to remove all of the emotional side effects. So we've seen a decrease from detox already of 10 to 20%. Then they come into the program and we remove through cognitive behavioral therapy, through addiction counseling, through medication education, through physical therapy, actually increasing their amount of physical movement decreases their pain. And so we see, our average patient sees about a 70 to 80% reduction in pain before they leave Driftwood.
Wow. Okay, so and how long is the actual, so they're detoxing now, from what I understand, they do not do that here on the property, do they? So they come to you after they detox. Okay, so you have detox centers you work with that you trust, obviously. You send them to those facilities. They begin to see a decrease in pain just from a 7 to 10 day detox. Then they come to your program here, actually at the Driftwood Recovery campus. And how long are they here in the actual inpatient?
Sure. Minimum stay would be 30 days. Many of our patients end up staying 45 to 60 days, and occasionally we have someone that's here 120 days.
So it's individualized.
It's really every single patient is truly individualized and has an individualized treatment plan. And we look at it from a mind, body, spirit approach, and that's what we use. We use a lot of exercise. We have the pool right over here that we're sitting by. We do aquatic therapy every day with our residents, and getting in a pool and exercising for someone that has chronic pain takes the weight off of their body and allows them to float so they feel less pain. But they still sweat and move and exercise.
They're still getting some movement. Sure.
Right.
Yeah, they're still getting the flexibility back. They're still gaining confidence. I think that might by itself is just a confidence booster, because for once they're starting to feel better. And that hasn't happened in a long time, especially if they went through that terrible cycle that you spoke of at first, which could last 9 months before they finally get to a proper facility such as yours.
Absolutely.
And so I think the confidence begins to increase significantly as well. And they start to feel better. If you feel better, you look better. This new cycle of positivity begins to happen as soon as they touch down on a Driftwood campus. And so you spoke of aquatic therapy. What else I saw the gym when I came here. It's an amazing facility. I got to meet the personal trainer. She seems very passionate about what she does for her clients. And so the process of physical therapy in combination with your clinical services occurs. Can you speak about the clinical side?
Yeah, let me back up real quick and say a little bit more about the physical side. So some of the things that we do on the physical side are certainly physical therapy and aquatic therapy, but we also do qigong. We do meditation, we do mindfulness, we do deep breathing, we do positive visualization exercises.
Wow.
What we want to do with that is just like you said, motivate the patient to recover. Motivate the patient to thrive in life. Really change the negative thinking patterns that they have. And we do that through both physical therapy and the clinical side.
Right.
So a typical day for someone would be to get up at 6:30 in the morning, and do a morning stretch, do a morning activity, a motivational stretch, and get their bodies moving, because they haven't done this in years, months to years. Then they have a nice healthy breakfast that's prepared by one of our chefs every single day of the week. And then they go to a morning meditation class or a morning wake up check in with feelings. How are you feeling today? What's your goal for today? And And then after that, they may go to a process group. And after that process, or during that process group, they process, how was I feeling yesterday? What difference am I seeing from the time that I got here to now? A lot of the people that have been here for a month, and then you have someone that's been here a day that's depressed and anxious and fearful. Those people that have been here for a month are very motivational and give a helping hand to that person and help them by positive psychology and saying, look, I was right where you were. I couldn't walk from here to the pool when I first got here, and now I'm lightly jogging 3 miles a day.
Yes.
And your life can change. And they process their feelings and emotions in that group. Then they'll do a pain education group where we learned about mind and body and how our mind works with our nervous system and our body works with our nervous system. And after that, they may go out on a morning mountain bike ride, and they may go on a 5-mile walk, a 3-mile walk. They may ride the mountain bikes. They may go out and do the ropes course, a challenge course, high ropes and low ropes for them. Then we have a healthy, nutritious lunch that's also, of course, prepared by one of our chefs. And after lunch, they'll go back into either an education group, a process group, or what we call a chemical dependency education group. For chronic pain patients, that would be what medications are appropriate, what non-opiate medications can you take.
It's very important, right? So so they're actually going to switch. So your doctors and your staff are going to also possibly switch the medications that they came in on, right?
Absolutely.
I know there's a lot of fear for people that have been on a medication for a long time. They think, no, this is the only way I've even been able to have a little bit of help with this situation.
Yeah.
Please don't take me off this. So how do you guide somebody in the right direction when they're so fearful of that change, that transition?
And 100% of the people that have chronic pain have a fear of not taking an opiate. It's just a natural fear. If I'm sitting here with you talking and you're in a level 9 pain, that's a significant level of perceived pain, and all pain is real. If you tell me that you're in a level 9 pain, that's a real level of pain. It may be different than the way I feel a level 9 pain, but your pain at a level 9 is very significant. So you sitting there and me telling you, well, we're going to detox you first and take you off your opiates is a very scary thing.
Oh, yes.
They look at me and say, are you crazy? I'm hurting now.
Right.
What am I going to feel like when I get off of an opiate?
Tomorrow's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Right.
So we begin education actually before they get to detox. We talk to them before they come in about a detox protocol, about the detox process, about hyperalgesia. What we're going to do is we're not going to let you suffer. Detox is not friendly. It's not wonderful. It's not a fun game. But we're going to do it as comfortably as possible.
Right.
So we detox in a very comfortable way, and we educate them every day. We make visits to the detox center every day and do an education little session with that patient while they're there, and prepare them that when you come here, you're not going to be on any opiates whatsoever. And that may be 5 days, 7 days, or 10 days, whatever that might be. So when they get here, they're evaluated again medically, and then we look at what might be appropriate, such as a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medication, or if anything is appropriate.
Right.
The Mayo Clinic up in Rochester, Minnesota believes that if it hadn't worked in 90 days, don't even take Advil, don't take aspirin. I don't quite go that far,
Okay.
but we try to moderate.
Yeah.
But absolutely no benzos and no opiates, no medication-assisted therapy. Many people ask us what our philosophy is on Suboxone. On long-term Suboxone, to me, Suboxone is the same Band-Aid as an opiate. There's a lot of doctors out there, and in fact, unfortunately, there's some treatment centers that will continue to keep people on Suboxone long-term. But Suboxone acts the same way as the opiate does on your brain. It's a psychological dependence, and it gives you a false sense of hope. So we don't even want to use methadone. We don't want to use Suboxone.
Right.
We're completely abstinence-based in our medication.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And so most of your clients, obviously they can call you guys at 512-842-6767 and talk to an admission specialist if they're interested in getting a hold of you.
Right.
And they can visit your website at driftwoodrecovery.com and do their own research. For all those out there that might be fearful of giving somebody a call, that's totally fine. Get online and do the research yourself. So how else does somebody hear about Driftwood? Obviously you're talking to doctors, you're out there educating the public on what to do and how to respond to these patients that are actually in pain and how to properly handle those situations. How does somebody hear about you guys? And if they're nervous and they're fearful, what can they do as the next step?
Well, we've got a great marketing team, business development team out there that visits everyone from physicians to psychiatrists, pain management physicians, pain coaches, churches. We educate as many people in the country that we can educate online. We have a significant online presence and how to manage your pain. We do blogs, we do anything that we can do to educate the community. But picking up the phone and calling us, looking at our website, submitting your insurance form online is the very first step.
Right.
And by taking that step, our admissions counselors can certainly help them figure out how to get here.
And you mentioned insurance, so you do work with insurance providers to help keep somebody's costs low. Obviously, is that so? Are you in network or out of network? How does that work?
We are an out-of-network provider.
Okay, so you're an out-of-network provider, so they can look at your insurance as well to make sure that it's affordable for you guys. If you're interested in seeking some help with your pain management and opiate possible addiction, do not hesitate to call Driftwood at 512-842-6767 and ask to speak to an admissions specialist about your situation. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was, yep, that's fine. All right, Jim. We're gonna keep going. I sure will, Jim. Absolutely. Contact Driftwood at 512-842-6767. Thank you so much, Jim, and 580 AM. You too. Thank you so much. We're going to keep going. I'm not done with you yet. That was so for everybody listening, once again, you can contact these guys. Check out driftwoodrecovery.com. But I want to talk more about the situation, the level of fear that I've experienced with family members.
Sure.
Okay, so a family member calls about their husband or their wife or their child. A lot of people understand now, and it's getting better, that when you put something that's unhealthy, you take it out of an unhealthy system, you get it healthy, and you put it back in the unhealthy family system, it's going to fall apart again.
Yeah.
So how do you help family members at Driftwood?
And that's exactly, I'm so glad you brought that up, because family is a huge component of what we do. We involve family from day one, actually from the first phone call. Who do you live with? What's your family systems? We get their family history. When they come in, we take a family history. We want consents for as many family members, spouses, parents, children, everything that we can get. And we educate those families, and we have a 3-day, I'd love to say mandatory. It's not quite mandatory, but we really push all of our
highly
patients.
encouraged.
Highly encouraged. There you go.
Highly encouraged.
Encouraging families, and I will tell you, we have a 98% of our families participate.
That's amazing.
Some people financially are not able to get here, but the families that are able to get here will all come. We have an amazing family therapist, actually from West Hollywood, Dr. Louise Stanger, who spends about a week a month at Driftwood educating families and doing a family program.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the families are involved at least one solid weekend out of the 30-day, 45, or even 60-day. What's the longest somebody could stay here?
Oh, listen, we have someone here right now that's been here for 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's because that person needed that. That family
Needs
system
that
needed
time.
that, right?
Absolutely. And families will come back month after month. If someone's here 90 days, we want them here for all 3 family programs.
Right. And then you also have the step down, right, which is very important because a lot of people are like, okay, this is great, I'm detox, feeling better, my pain is significantly decreased. Now what do I do? So what does your aftercare look like?
Sure. So we believe in a full continuum of care. So in downtown Austin on Riverside Drive, Riverside and Travis Heights, we own a recovery home, extended care. It's called Riverside Extended Care. It's a 15 beds, male and female. The males are in one house, the females
15
are in...
beds each?
No, 15 total.
Okay,
yep.
okay.
Males in one building, females in another building. And the average length of stay there is about 6 months. And
Wow.
what we want to do, someone that's been in pain and has not worked for years cannot go home and immediately get a job. So what we want to do is we step them down to what we call partial hospitalization, PHP. Then they step down to an IOP level. And at that IOP level, they start looking for jobs, looking for employment, taking vocational assessments, going back to college, reintegrating back into society as much as possible.
That real transition begins to occur.
Exactly.
So you're talking about possibly seeing somebody for an entire year.
Sure.
Or
Yeah.
longer.
So that's our goal.
That's absolutely amazing, and I can't thank you enough for coming on the
Thank
show.
you.
Sorry about the short
No, that's
short
fine.
thing But thanks to everybody who's tuning in on Facebook. I appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and edit this video for you guys and get it to you. Once again, contact Driftwood at 512-842-6767. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you next time on Recovery Live. All right. Thanks,
man. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much.
Very cool.
Yes. Struggle is real, guys.
So awesome. Oh my God. He's a superstar.
Yeah, whatever.